Every time something terrible happens, fingers are always pointed without 100% knowledge of said situation. In this case, I think it's best today we address the political agenda against video games, in which every time a horrendous tragedy happens, for some reason fingers are pointed at the no-good, violent video game industry. This isn't just the left attacking video games, this isn't just the right attacking video games, this is both sides playing the blame game and claiming violent video games are why these terrible events keep occurring. Just the other day, following what happened in Florida, Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin pointed his fingers at the video game industry, saying, there are video games that, yes, are listed for mature audiences, but kids play them and everybody knows it, and there's nothing to prevent the child from playing them. They celebrate the slaughtering of people. These are games that literally replicate and give people the ability to score points for doing the very same thing that these students are doing inside of schools, where you get extra points for finishing someone off who's lying there begging for their life. These are quote-unquote video games, and they're forced down our throats under the guise of protected speech. It's garbage. It's the same as pornography. They have desensitized people to the value of human life, to the dignity of woman, to the dignity of human decency. We're reaping what we've sown here. Furthermore, as I stated before, this isn't just one ignorant governor in Kentucky. This is a topic that has been brought up on both sides for a very long time.
Now, pro or anti-gun, Republican or Democrat, a lot of people do agree on that. Take a look.
Vicious, violent video games with names like Bulletstorm, Grand Theft Auto, Mortal Kombat, and Splatterhouse.
The violence in the entertainment culture.
What about the violence in our video games?
The depiction of these assault weapons again and again.
Violence, the realism that you find in games and movies.
The corrosive influence of a violent-oriented world.
Then came a nighttime TV ad for the video game Hitman Absolution, which led former top Obama advisor David Axelrod to tweet, "Shouldn't we also quit marketing murder as a game?" But while the adults were asking questions, America's kids went on their daily shooting spree.
If you're a parent, there are some other things that you should know that should send shivers down your spine if you hear these three words: Grand Theft Auto. I know that when I say this, about 80% of the people in America that hear me are going, oh, geez, here's a crazy conservative on TV screaming about the dangers of video games. But like it or not, here's the point tonight. We are training our kids to be killers.
Leaders of the industry met with Vice President Biden yesterday, and gun supporters say that's where the real blame lies when it comes to mass shootings.
How about video games, Ethan? Would you support regulating video games? You know, there are video games out there that are very realistic, and you can shoot to death, you know, every video character on the screen and leave them lying in a pool of blood.
Now, some of you may be asking, is there actually any proof or studies that say video games contribute to aggressive behavior? And the simple answer is no. Back in 2011, the US Supreme Court ruled research did not find a clear connection between violent video games and aggressive behavior. Additionally, in 2017, the Media Psychology and Technology Division of the American Psychological Association released a statement suggesting reporters and policymakers cease linking mass shootings to violent media, given the lack of evidence for a link. Surprisingly, back in 2005, the same organization, the American Psychological Association, or the APA, released its first policy statement linking violent video games to aggression, and in 2015 they updated their statement, but that sparked controversy immediately, with 238 scholars asking the American Psychological Association to retire its quote outdated and problematic statements on video game violence, unquote. Additionally, back in 2016, Christopher J. Ferguson, an American psychologist who serves as a professor and co-chair of psychology at Stenson University, along with criminologist Alan Copenhaver, found that the APA ignored inconsistencies and methodological problems in the research data from 2005. The point is, there's no proof but a lot of bias that has been spread over the years, with many people ignoring facts that indicate video games do not make people aggressive. Well, only when there's lag. Again, going back to Christopher J. Ferguson, who has studied this topic for over 15 years, he found in a 2015 meta-analysis in which he examined 101 studies on the subject and found that violent video games had little impact on kids' aggression, mood, helping behavior, or grades. He also found back in 2014 that spikes in violent video games popularity are well known to correlate with substantial declines in youth violence, not increases. As he stated just the other day, quote, "More recent research suggests that the release of highly popular violent video games are associated with immediate declines in violent crime, hinting that the releases may cause the drop-off," unquote. The truth is, what I dislike most about the media and politicians' claims about video games is that there is a lot of ignorance, with most of these individuals describing video games like every single title is a bloodbath. Video games are so much more. They are an art, they are a journey, they are a tale. Sure, some titles, maybe like Battlefield, try and emulate war, but there are no links or evidence supporting that people playing those games are tomorrow going to want to go on a real-life killing spree. In this current day, the most popular shooter games are probably Fortnite, Overwatch, Call of Duty, and a few others. And if any of these politicians really believe these games should be taken seriously as a threat, maybe, just maybe, they should not be in office. Now, I certainly don't have the answers to why these horrible things keep happening, but what I'm certain is that video games are not the reason, and the blame game needs to stop. This is a myth that too many ignorant people like spreading as fact. Let's not forget the famous attorney Jack Thompson and his long history and crusades of trying to link video games to violent crimes, even citing the APA's flawed 2005 statement as proof. Jack Thompson's failed campaign against video games saw him consistently for about 2 decades trying to sue game developers and publishers for making violent and inappropriate video games. Pretty much any opportunity Thompson got to try and make a video game look bad, he did so. And this narrative ran all the way up until 2008, when he was disbarred from the Supreme Court of Florida for inappropriate conduct, including making false statements. Jack Thompson, notably in 2005, wrote an open letter to the Entertainment Software Association president Doug Lowenstein, making what he described as a modest video game proposal to the video game industry. The proposal stated that Thompson would donate $10,000 to a charity designated by Take-Two CEO at the time, Paul Eibler, if any video game company would create a game including the scenario he described in the letter. The scenario called for the main character whose son was killed by a boy who played violent video games to murder a number of industry executives, including one modeled of the Take-Two CEO, and go on a killing spree at E3. As ridiculous as that sounds, video games fans took him up on his offer, creating a game called I'm Okay, a Murder Simulator. Afterwards, well, Thompson claimed that his proposal was satire and refused to make the promised donation, so later on, creators of the gaming webcomic Penny Arcade made the donation for Thompson, writing in the memo field for the check, "For Jack Thompson, because Jack Thompson won't." The point of bringing up this fool is because the media constantly had him on, from CNN to Fox News, to bash video games and try to emphasize the BS narrative that violent video games make people aggressive. And also, it was reported that Thompson recently sent the Kentucky governor, Matt Bevin, a letter in the wake of Kentucky's own school shooting last month. Seeing Thompson's long history against video games, it's pretty obvious what that letter said. The political war, which has no factual evidence and really is just a witch hunt against video games, will continue because everyone always needs to point their fingers at something and play the blame game. But honestly, it needs to stop. Anyway, thank you for joining me. If you did enjoy this video or found any informative value, make sure to leave a like. Let me know what you think about the agenda against video games in the comment section below, and consider subscribing for more videos like this, and I'll see you later.